So the next thing we're going to talk about history-wise is going to be this building right here across the street from Tesoro. This is 73 Hollis Street. And this was the Winthrop Hotel. It's a historic structure. It opened its doors in 1882. It was built by Simon O'Connell, who lived just down the street in Hopkinton. And it's really important. You're going to see a lot of old hotels on this tour today. And we needed those because they were close to the trains. People were getting off the trains and they needed a place to stay. So in 1912, an addition was added to make the building the same size that you see today. So they had another level added to it. It had gas light, steam heat, and a fine dining room. And like I said, it was very convenient for the travelers who were coming off the train. But there was a lot of hotel competition back in the day. So what happened was this hotel fell out of favor because there were much better, bigger hotels closer to the train station that we're going to go by. And it was converted into a rooming house in 1915. So currently, this is the Framingham Police Substation. And then above it, it is a rooming house called Turning Point Shelter that is operated by the South Middlesex Opportunity Council. Very good. So this building right here on our left, where you see Morale Burgers and a lot of different types of businesses, that was constructed in 1900. It's a steel structure, actually. You'll see the brick in the back, but the bones are made of steel. And the former owners of Potteria Brazil, Elias Fernandez, they actually owned this building. I really love the designs on the top of the architecture here. I think that was really well done, and it gives it a special flair as well. So this is actually my favorite architecture downtown. There is a lot of really cool architecture just in this little block here. Okay. This is one of the best, it's not open on Tuesdays, unfortunately. This is one of the best places to eat downtown. If you're having a really bad day and you want to be cheered up, I always love to go for Pizza Paisa. Unfortunately, it's not open, or I would take you in there, but it's open for takeout right now. You can park, like I said, in the Hollis Car parking lot or on street and just jump over in here. And luckily, they've been able to stay in business just on takeout this entire time. They have not done indoor dining, so that's been very interesting. They've been able to survive here. So please continue to support our downtown restaurants. So this is another historic building. This is going to be the Oddfellows building. You can see it's quite tall. And this was built in 1876. The Oddfellows Hall was the first masonry commercial structure in downtown. And there was no one around it for a while, for the first 4 years of its life. And then the Elmwood Rink and the Elmwood Opera House were built adjacent to it, just to the south. By 1890, it was flanked by the Eames Building just to the north, which isn't there anymore. And the Eames Building was home to Claus Pharmacy. So sometimes you'll see an old picture of Irving Square and Burkett Square, and you'll see a building on the corner, which is the old pharmacy, which is no longer there. So there was a mansard roof that was on this building with ornate trim that had been removed. And it has more of a contemporary appearance now, more modern, because they removed the mansard roof. Because there was a fire in the 1920s, so they thought it would be best to get rid of the mansard element to this building. And the facade looks a little bit different than it had originally. One of my board of directors, Claudia Chavez, she runs a fitness studio on the 3rd floor of this building called Core Fit. So it's a really cool way for businesses to take advantage of the commercial offerings in these really old historic buildings. There's a really neat stairwell in this building too that has different decorations that are built right into the floor, which is really neat to see. They're very ornate. One floor has a deck of cards that's built into it. Another floor has a picture of a pool table on it, so it is pretty cool. If you were wondering what the Order of the Oddfellows is all about, it's a non-profit group that visits the sick. They help people that are distressed. They also provide scholarships to folks. There's a couple chapters in Massachusetts currently that are in Milford and Walden as well. So we're going to continue this way. You'll see some more of the decorations that we have that look really good. This is one of my favorite storefronts right here. This is Imperial Jewelry. Adeline is the owner, and she's fantastic. We actually helped the business owner here to get a small business grant from the city, which worked out really well. So that was really fun, but she's done a really great job with her storefront today. And this is Couscous Restaurant here on the right, and they've had a lot of publicity this year. They were in the Metro West Daily News. Excuse me, they were in the Boston Globe. So it's a really cute spot that's really taking advantage of being in Berkeley Square and helping drive foot traffic to downtown. And they also are featuring one of these nice food takeout signs. This is a project that I saw they had in Raleigh, North Carolina, in their Main Streets district. So I made a map of where we could put these signs, and I went to the Traffic Commission, and they approved them this year. So you'll see about 20 of these or more downtown, which is a really symbolic gesture to help preserve spaces here to help support takeout for small businesses. So we hope that you can find a space to get your food. Okay, so this is really the central point of Berkeley Square. This is really the hub of the area, and you'll see here it's named in honor of Charles Berkus. He was a Framingham native and police officer for 36 years, and they really dedicated this whole intersection to him for all of his hard work while he served. Also behind us, you'll see there's a lot of elderly people that live in this area as well. Some are elderly, some have mental health issues, and some people just need extra assistance. And so this property here is called the Irving Square Apartments. On the other side of this, you'll have the Irving Street Apartments. These are managed by Peabody Properties, and they have this beautiful garden here they manage. And there's a lot of elderly individuals that live in these apartments. Across the street, you'll see this very ornate Tribune building that was just remodeled 2 years ago. I think it was a $40 million project. And so it's very nice. Again, they have a lot of elderly. I think there's like 96 units over here combined. And so it's really great to have different populations. So one of my jobs is to find out what are the needs of the elderly, and do they have access to fresh food and the items they need? Where do they go for arts and entertainment? Do they have access to Amazing Things Art Center or ATAC 160? So we did focus groups with the individuals that live here earlier this year, February, prior to the pandemic, and we worked with the Framingham State University students to talk to them and find out how they can be a more integral part of their community and feel ownership over the streetscapes that are here. All right, so this is the Tribune building, like I said, and it actually won an award. It won the Community Preservation Award for all of the work that was recently done to renovate it. There's 58 apartments in this building, whereas in the Tribune building right here, there are fewer. I think it's about 48 units. So the Tribune building, it was owned by Charles McPherson. Charles McPherson was a really big deal back in the day. He organized the Framingham Gas, Fuel, and Power Company, and Charles McPherson was also president of the Framingham Board of Trade, which would be just like being president of the Chamber of Commerce today. This building, the Tribune Apartments, it was completed in 1890, and it used to be home to the Framingham Tribune newspaper. So you can kind of see this area is very walkable, the sidewalks are wide, and in this building, when it was the Tribune newspaper in the late 1800s and early 1900s, when the papers would come out every day, people would gather here and they would talk about the news and what was going on, and it kind of has the same kind of gathering vibe that you see today, which is really interesting. That same sense of community and gathering is still happening in Berkeley Square today. After the Tribune newspaper closed, it went from daily issues to weekly issues. It was eventually replaced by the Metro West Daily News, which you can read today, and that is at home to a different location, obviously. So in 1897, the Evening News was also created out of here, and it was published nightly from the very bottom floor of the Tribune building. The South Framingham and North Framingham were separate for a very long time, I believe, up until 1924 about. So the South Framingham town offices were actually located in the Tribune building, And they used to meet in the Elmwood Opera House, and then the South Birmingham town offices would meet in this building here. Today, North Birmingham and South Birmingham combined. In 1926, they all moved into the Memorial Building that we'll see at 150 Concord Street.